Hello there, I'm Begalius. Upload Studio is the worst piece of shit software on any app ever, so who even knows if this video will actually make it out to the YouTubes? And this is Team Deathmatch on Gibraltar on Call of Duty World War II. Got you there, didn't I? To the keen-eyed viewers of you, the eagle-eyed fans of video games, will be able to tell you that this isn't actually Gibraltar. This isn't Call of Duty at all. What this is, let me tell you this right now. I'm going to give you a huge, elongated introduction to this. This is my bread and butter, dude. This is, I mean, if you go back to the birth, the origins of Begalius, which I've been doing a lot recently, and coming up soon will be my 8-year anniversary. I've been doing YouTube for too long, man. I'm an old dude. But yeah, if you look back, the birth of my channel, the introduction of my channel, how everything began was through YouTube, Halo. I mean, it was Halo. I began this channel showing people Halo Reach maps.
So today, what am I going to do? Well, I am running through the Defiant map pack. Well, actually, my favorite map on the Defiant map pack, which is Condemned.
And I just waffled on, and it wasn't very good. But it was to me. I like watching those old videos, and I did kick off this channel with Halo because Halo is my jam. It's my I was terrible. it's what I do, man. It's been my main game for a very long time. I only ever really played Call of Duty for YouTube. I mean, I liked Black Ops 1. I thought it was a tremendous game. Really, really good game. And I really, I fell in love with it. But I only really, it piqued my interest for YouTube purposes. And everything thereafter was purely for YouTube purposes. I mean, World War II interested me. And I did like the fact that it was going back to the old school, in fact. Old school style. Very old school. It's very creaky. Style of sort of gameplay in Call of Duty. Unfortunately, that game got kind of boring, kind of quick, and I thought the DLC would fix that, but if you show me a screenshot from the new DLC compared to the old maps, I probably wouldn't be able to see the difference. They were not great. But yeah, so this is how it all began. This is the birth story of Halo. Well, it's not, because it's Halo 5, which came out several years after the birth of Begalius happened, which was in a test tube, and then I came out and I was surrounded by liquid and fluff. It was a really strange moment, but that's not what I'm sort of talking about. I think I tailed off talking about chemical births, but this is Halo. So I want to tell you about Halo, and perhaps I don't know, maybe allude to, although I'm telling you right now, using more Halo in the future and go back to those roots. Every now and then I sort of did delve into Halo again on my channel, but I never really used it because I felt as though it doesn't provide as good a gameplay. You'll notice that my KD isn't as inflated or as good in this game, and that's for a couple of reasons. Obviously, like, to me, the game itself matters more than my ability to get a good KD. But Halo works in a different way, man. It's a whole different beast in that in Call of Duty it's very easy to rack up a ridiculous, in fact, kill to death ratio, and you can do that just by simply like holding down in one area, hunkering down, or like drop shotting, or going from an extreme distance, or utilizing overpowered weapons and things like that. And that's for a couple of reasons. Because A, the health is super low in that game, so you are able to just pick people up in a matter of seconds, and also because you're able to choose loadouts when it was in Halo, and this is why, I mean, this kind of delves into why I sort of veered off of Halo. I veered away from it during Halo 4. I did a couple of videos when it came out. I was super hyped for that game, super into it, and crazy hyped for Halo 4 because it was a huge deal, man. If you're a fan of Halo, then you would know how big a deal the fact that Halo 4 was even still happening, in fact, was for Halo fans. So many photoshopped game box arts and stuff like that. Oh, we're making a new Halo game, but it's a prequel. Everybody was, jizzing their pants over this Halo 4 coming out, and unfortunately it was a crock of shit, which I want to talk about, more later in the video. But yeah, so unfortunately that did have loadouts. But what I love about Halo 5 is that, as is the case with all Halo games, the health is larger, but also this takes it back to its roots and to what made Halo so great. And the reason I always say that Halo 5 is a fantastic game, and a lot of people like to criticize it, but I honestly think that it's probably the best multiplayer experience, or at least my favorite multiplayer experience, that's currently sort of circulating in the world of gaming. Of course, I prefer the prequels, well, not the prequels, but the earlier games. But Master Chief Collection, for me, doesn't really do too much because it's kind of like it's been said and done. And I had a similar feeling with the Call of Duty 4 remaster. I got into it for a while, but I've done it. You know, it's been done. And so what I'm talking about comparatively between Call of Duty is that there are no loadouts in this game. Everybody starts with the same weapons. You all start with an assault rifle and a BR, or an assault rifle and a pistol, unless you're doing Super Fiesta. And you go out and you find your guns. And what that does is it leads to map control and predictability, which are two huge influences in what makes this game so great. Is that everybody's rushing to one place, and you know that because you're also rushing there. And that inability to know what people have, and that sort of making the most of the scenario that you're in. Like, that guy's an energy sword, but luckily there's two of us, so let's work together. Let's both use pistols. He's coming at us from range. We need to use the ability that we have range and use a pistol. We can headshot him. You know, it's tactics versus the Call of Duty way of doing things, and so the kill to death is never going to be as inflated in Halo. And so if I do Halo gameplay in the future, which I plan to do because I have another one on there, on Rig, on Fiesta, and so on and so forth, I think that it could lead to interesting gameplay, but it's not going to be as inflated, obviously. But Halo, to me, is just so much more fun. Having to think, having to go to the right places, be tactical, fall back, and things like that, which is so of every other game to me, just works. And I understand that a lot of people could talk about Overwatch and things like that, but to me, Overwatch, I couldn't get on board with that. I didn't really. It was too much for me. I like the fact that Halo uses simplicity in order to implicit something far greater, and just to make things super flowy and easy and accessible. And I think that's great. Well, not easy, but accessible. I think that's great. And I mean, it's like, it's Halo, and I think I'm very brand loyal when it comes to Halo, and it's always been the game that I've sort of, it was the start of my multiplayer gaming experience. You know, I'll always tell people my favorite map in gaming, online gaming history, is Guardian on Halo 3, because the first time I ever saw a Halo multiplayer match was on Guardian. I watched it on TV. Actually, it was on that shitty Spike TV thing. They had a tournament and they were playing on Guardian, and that since has always been my favorite map in any video game ever, Guardian on Halo 3. And Halo 3 is my favorite game of all time. And the series itself, like, the reason I guess I've been sort of reintroducing myself to this quite a bit, and the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because recently I set myself an endeavor, a challenge, because I looked at my achievements and I said to myself, this is my favorite game series. You know, Halo #1, and then I think Mass Effect, and then probably Dead Space. These are my favorite game series, but Halo is poles apart from everything else in retrospect of being my favorite game series of all time. It's incredible to me. And the first 3 Halo games you can't beat, you know, and even Reach was phenomenal, but you can't beat that trilogy of games. And for me, I looked at my achievements and I said, I never finished 1 and 2 on Legendary. And I guess that's because on the original Xbox there was no incentive to do so, and the PC one kept crashing for me. So I went back and I did it. I beat Halo 1 on Legendary, and I beat Halo 2 on Legendary, which was a huge endeavor for me. And then I did 3 and 4, which I've already got the achievements for. And now I have the Legend achievement, which I'm super, super proud of. I'm really happy with the fact that I have the Legend achievement, which is to complete all of the Halo games in Master Chief Collection on Legendary, and then I pinned it to my profile. Halo 1 I love Combat Evolved. I know a lot of people loved it more than me. I preferred 2. 2 is my second favorite, but 3 is my #1 game of all time. And I did a video about this before. It's just so perfect. Everything about that game is just so perfected. The pacing, the speed, the having to be tactical, the campaign, the story. The environments, the fact that it introduced Forge, machinimas. I would love to go back and do a machinima, dude. The fact that they introduced machinimas and theater mode and custom games was so huge. I feel sorry for people all these millennials who didn't live through the era of Halo 3. To me, that was the greatest gaming era of all time.
Delayed.
Of course you were doing it in there, fuck. Okay, I'll let you in.
Delayed.
Sorry, I didn't realise I was doing it. Oh my god. You are the worst person.
in the world.
You're the worst kind of person, Alan. You really are.
Yeah, we used to have balls.
And I will say my greatest gaming memory of all time is the Vidmaster Annual on Halo 3, where you have to finish the last mission on Ghost, co-op and all that, with the Mystic skull on, and it was just an incredible gaming experience. And everything, like Mike Myers and Fat Kid and all of this stuff, everything was so perfect with that game. Unfortunately, when Halo 4 came about, it sucked dick. And I went through, I had an amazing time playing the first one, amazing time, frustrating time playing 2, an incredible time playing 3. I did half of it in co-op with Ben. And 4, I didn't like it. I genuinely didn't like it. I am actually one of the only people who preferred the Halo 5 campaign to 4. Anyway, I want to talk more about this. I would love to. So let me know your thoughts. Tell me whether you want more Halo. It doesn't matter because I'm going to give you more anyway. And I really want to talk about this again, so I may do in the future.